WCBI News at 6 starts now.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Concern is rising along with the waters at the Oktibbeha County Lake Dam. The KOA campground is deserted after being evacuated this afternoon.
Our Cash Matlock spent the day at the levee. He joins us in the studio now with the very latest on what's happening out there. Cash.
Guys, the water level at the Oktibbeha County Lake is so high it's spilling over the top, spreading into nearby cabins and RVs. So far, only the campgrounds have been evacuated. Residents along Walter Bell Road and Perkins Drive are still allowed in the area, but with more rain on the way, all of that could soon change.
8.5 feet. That's how much Oktibbeha County Lake has risen over the last week, canceling out any and all progress. 3 weeks ago, a slide was discovered. Then another slide. The fragile levee could swamp nearby homes if it fails.
We've got a large body of water, but unfortunately we've got a large body in the campgrounds and in the lake.
Former fire coordinator Kirk Rosenhan says the county is doing everything it can to ease pressure off the dam.
I've got 5 pumps running now. The 6th one's got a little problem. The technicians are on the way now to put it back in service, and we have also put in the siphons back in service.
But even with 6 pumps and 2 siphons, the water level is still on the rise.
I can estimate how many million gallons we're pumping in a day, but unfortunately that's, if you pardon me, a drop in the bucket at this point.
Alberta Turner has lived on Walter Bell Road for more than 50 years.
No, it wasn't no lake out there when I came over here. The lake came since I've been here.
When asked about the possibility of a levee failure, Turner says she isn't concerned.
Oh, no, I'm not concerned because I'm trusting in the Lord. He take care of his children. No doubt about it. Water ain't never been down this far, period. Not yet.
Her community is a close-knit one. She says she will rely on help from family and neighbors if things continue to escalate.
Yeah, I got family folks who come get me if it's get that bad, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. They were just kind of concerned a little and called me. I said, I'm all right.
And if the situation worsens, the county has a plan for mandatory evacuations.
Emergency shelters reopened today at the First Baptist Church Outreach Center. Oktibbeha County Humane Society will help board any pets.
The Mississippi Emergency Management Agency releases an initial report from storms across the state. MEMA says only 8 counties reported any type of damage from yesterday's storm. In Clay County, 10 roads were closed and 2 are damaged. 5,000 sandbags have been issued in Attala and Leake counties. Greene, Grenada, Warren, and Yazoo counties also reported some type of flooding or damage. Now, of course, the number of areas reporting this information is expected to increase throughout the week.
Well, some Webster County residents woke up this morning to find their yards underwater. Yeah,
nearly 5 inches of rain fell yesterday, and more is expected this week. Our Stephanie Poole joins us live in the studio with more on what emergency officials are asking folks to do. Stephanie?
That's right. Ditches, parks, and residential areas are overflowing with water. Even though some of the water has gone down, people are getting ready for the next round of severe weather. Every time it rains in Webster County, Edward Womack expects the worst.
If it comes just an inch of rain, it'd put water back up here right now.
Heavy rainfall left his backyard completely saturated, and Womack says this isn't the first time his yard has flooded.
Last time it got so bad, they started coming out of the road going through my driveway. If we haven't got these sandbags, keep the water out, it didn't let but about 2 inches coming in my house then.
Womack is also relying on some pumps to help clear up most of the water.
Got a shed back there behind the house and got 2 pumps back there. And then I got a 4-inch pipe that goes through the levee back there. It's got a valve on it where I can open and shut it. And when it starts the yard filling up with water, we turn them 2 pumps on with that thing back there and keep it pumped out of the backyard.
Webster County EMA Director Barry Rushing says it's been a battle tending to each flooded area.
We got a lot of rain, and it's the most rain I've seen in a long time, and it has backed up some of the areas that's never been flooded that I know of. Have some culverts washed out, and also a lot of roads are being closed temporarily. Have 3 closed this time. Going to be McCarter, Cole, and Hooper roads were closed this time.
That's why he's urging residents to keep a close eye on weather and the rising water.
We're keeping on watch right now and have our equipment ready to do things we need to do just in case something does happen.
Everybody be careful because this weather's still coming.
McCarter, Cole, and Hooper roads will remain closed until further notice.
Heavy rains have played havoc with the daily schedule in the Houston School District. Classes began late this morning across the Houston District. Recent rainfall washed out some culverts, closing roads, and water was covering other roads in the county. Monday, the superintendent, Tony Cook, decided to dismiss school early because of anticipated rain that evening. Cook says any decision that alters schedules is made with the safety of students, teachers, and parents in mind.
Getting kids to and from school is probably my biggest concern. While we've got them here, we feel pretty good about the safety issues that we've got under our control. Weather is not in our control, so anytime we're dealing with a lot of water, ice, or anything, we look carefully at getting kids in and out of school.
So far, the superintendent says the schedule for Wednesday should be back to normal. He is monitoring the weather closely, though, and will let students and staff know if there are any changes needed.
And since yesterday, anywhere from 2 to 7 inches of rain falling in our area. And between now and tomorrow night, we may see an additional 1 to 3 inches of rain to add on to what we've already had. So the flooding issues will continue around here. Widespread clouds, some lighter showers out there, nothing too terribly crazy at this time, but showers will be possible all evening and all night long. Down near Nanawaya, you can see some of that river flooding right here. This is in southeastern Winston County, no doubt the result of all the water now funneling on into those streams and rivers. For this evening, temperatures holding steady in the mid-40s. Rain showers will continue, a bit of a raw northerly breeze. Tomorrow, we should briefly peak up into the 70s. Some showers early, a break, and then strong to severe storms possible in the late afternoon and evening tomorrow. That does include some damaging wind and even an isolated tornado. We'll talk about that threat coming up.
A grand jury indicts a woman for attempted murder after she drove her car in Columbus Lake. 34-year-old Carrie Cullum was arrested in September of 2019 for the alleged incident. Columbus police say the former elementary school teacher intentionally drove her car into the water with her toddler in the back seat. By the time officers got there, a friend had pulled Cullum and the child to safety. Her bond was set at $50,000. A trial is set for May.
41-year-old Emmanuel Moore is accused of kidnapping a child. He was recently indicted by Lowndes County grand jury. A state trooper stopped to help a disabled vehicle this past September, but noticed things didn't seem quite right. After questioning the child, Moore was arrested. Investigators believe the girl was kidnapped from Georgia and possibly involved in a sex trafficking ring. At the time of his arrest, Moore was out on bond for statutory rape.
A Columbus man is facing a sex crime accused of giving another person a sexually transmitted disease. Stephen Flood was indicted by a grand jury on the charge of knowingly exposing a person to HIV. Lowndes County investigators say the victim told them that Flood never spoke of having HIV. After test results on the victim were returned, Flood was arrested this past October. His bond was set at $5,000. If convicted, Flood could face up to 10 years in prison.
Meanwhile, Ryan Scott Perrigan was also indicted. He's charged with sexual battery. Prosecutors allege the incident happened in 2014 and involved a child under the age of 10. The original report was filed last year.
More news from the grand jury now. Prosecutors say he set a car on fire, and now a jury will decide the fate of a Columbus man. The grand jury indicted Tamarcus Thomas on arson first-degree and arson third-degree charges. The fires happened at 2 different locations last September. Police Chief Fred Shelton told WCBI at the time that there was a connection between Thomas and the owner of the car. No other details were released about the case.
And a joint effort between 2 sheriff's departments lands a suspected thief in jail. Elizabeth Spence was arrested accused of having stolen property. Investigators say she is now out on bond. Earlier this week, Oktibbeha County deputies asked for help from the Webster County Sheriff's Office on a stolen property case. Deputies say they found some of that stolen property at a home in Matheston. More arrests are expected in this investigation.
Coming up, a clinic helping children celebrates an anniversary.
Yeah, we take a look at how a statewide partnership is bringing specialized care to North Mississippi.
You're watching WCBI News at 6 with Andrea Self and Joey Barnes.
Welcome back. A clinic specializing in care for younger patients celebrates a milestone. Children's of Mississippi opened 5 years ago in Tupelo. The clinic is part of the University of Mississippi Medical Center. 2 full-time doctors, along with doctors who travel to the clinic on a regular basis, see patients ranging in age from newborn to adults. The Tupelo Clinic gives many Northeast Mississippi residents better access to pediatric specialists.
There's a large underserved population of patients up here. With the university's wide range of insurance that we accept, this helps out a lot of people that would otherwise be driving to Memphis or Jackson for health care.
That's the good thing about being a specialty clinic, is that we feel like we have more of a bond with our patients. You know, we see them quite a bit, and just knowing that you're doing them a service. It's hard. Some children, it's hard to take them long distances. They have a hard time traveling.
The Tupelo Clinic is also equipped for telehealth services that allows patients to talk to doctors from across the country.
Well, kind of a gloomy day, but at least it wasn't pouring all day.
We'll take the gloom without the excessive rainfall of yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Tomorrow we'll have a chance for some storms. All that rain we had yesterday, raising the 10 time in Columbus about 14 feet today. It's going to take until this weekend to really start to decrease, so just plan on high water in the near term. The Luxapalila will get below flood stage later this weekend, that is in the Columbus area. And in Amory, the 10 time getting closer to flood stage by the end of the weekend. And by the weekend, things will be improving, cooler too, and drier. Full forecast is coming up.
Your WCBI First Alert AccuWeather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Our spring severe weather preparedness tour starts this weekend in Starkville at Academy Sports from about 10 until noon. You can get a weather radio. We'll set it up for you. You can just stop by and talk to us about severe weather. And of course, this is our active weather season. It is just beginning. It will be very active. And we have another event possibly tomorrow. Now, earlier today, I went out to Columbus Middle School and I spoke to Miss Harmon's science class. Look at these great 8th graders. Had a great time out there in Columbus today. Speaking of Columbus right now, we are overcast. Some showers around 46, winds northerly at about 7, low clouds, a gloomy night. Up in Tupelo, 46 degrees as well. We do have some light rain showers here across the region, not nearly as heavy as what we had yesterday. And as expected, showers have blossomed, and these will continue on and on again, off again, as we go throughout the course of the night. There's a frontal boundary to our south. That is going to be lifting back to the north. So the heaviest rain tonight will gradually shift back to the north before we get those storms in here tomorrow. So mid-40s for lows tonight, about where we are right now. And you're planning for tomorrow, some showers early 40s, then by noon 64. We'll dry things out a little bit, maybe get up into the low to mid-70s in some spots before the storms return late tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. Probably not the low 70s in the northwest tomorrow. Oxford, New Albany, Bruce at 66, Tupelo 66. The Golden Triangle area and south, a shot at the low to mid-70s. We are still thinking from about 3 o'clock tomorrow in the west to about midnight in the east. That severe weather threat, that would include wind and heavy rain. Those are the primary threats. The hail threat's low, and we're going to keep the tornado threat low, although we can't rule it out. This doesn't look like a major severe weather outbreak, but we are in this level 2 risk, and that just means we have to be cognizant of the fact that there could be some strong storms around. This evening, showers, 40s for most of the night. Notice how the heaviest rain will start to lift back to the north, and we'll dry things out a little bit tomorrow, late in the morning into the early afternoon. By midday, 60s in many spots here, but as we get into the afternoon, much warmer temperatures are possible before the storms. Look at that. The storms starting to line up here west of our area by midday. And as we get into the evening, that line of storms will cross our area. That would be the hail, the wind, the heavy downpours, and even that isolated tornado threat if we're going to get it. And temperatures will be falling down into the 40s Thursday morning and all day Thursday in the 40s, probably with cloudy skies. It is going to be a dismal day Thursday with breezy northerly winds. That rain potential 1 to 3 inches here. The flood watch remains in effect. Here's the big setup. We can see this area of low pressure that will kick on through with this cold front behind it. We'll see the clouds linger Thursday before high pressure builds on in. 49 Thursday, 27 Thursday night, 46 sunny and cool Friday, 25 Friday night. So winter is coming on back, folks.
Yeah,
We're still dry Saturday before the showers return Sunday of next week.
Winter is like a sucker punch, kind of.
No, punch in the gut, and then spring comes back. There's a tussle going on right now.
Meanwhile, we're all sick.
Sick and tired of the rain, too.
Yes, this is true. All right, this weekend marks the official return of college baseball, and that's a good thing because the weather will be good for that. The Rebels getting ready for a tough series in Oxford. More on that next in sports.
Your WCBI Sports with Courtney Robb is brought to you by your local Ford dealers. Go further.
Currently in hardwood action, round one of the Mississippi State-Ole Miss clash going down in Oxford. The battle briefly answering the age-old question of which team is the state's finest. Unmistakably, Dogs versus Rebels is always a heated battle when it comes to football. But how about basketball? Mississippi State head coach Ben Howland argues that hoops only adds to the heat.
I think you feel it more in a basketball game. You know, I mean, it's enclosed. I mean, there's way more intensity in a closed building when everybody's right on top of you. I mean, I think it's great in football, no question. But in terms of the intimacy of a basketball game, there's nothing like it. That's why, you know, it's the fastest growing, you know, sport in the world. It's just a great atmosphere, and so you feel it for sure. And there's no question. Whatever we play them in, you know, any sport, you know, there's competition to be the best.
Just 4 days remain until opening weekend, and there's no easing in for the Rebels. Ole Miss begins the 2020 campaign with a primetime college baseball series against the second-ranked Louisville Cardinals. Third baseman Tyler Keenan will be the only player to start in their same position from a year ago. That means a lot of new faces will take the field against the Cardinals. Ole Miss head coach Mike Bianco and company believe this is the perfect way to get the new team ready for the new year, facing the nation's best.
I don't think there's a better way to start the season than with the best team. You know, test yourself early, and you know, I think we've all worked hard this fall and this spring, and you know, I think we're ready for it, and I think it's going to show a lot on what our team is like.
We're going to go out there and play our game. We're going to play against ourselves in the game of baseball, and so that's what Coach likes to preach a lot is, you know, don't worry about the other team in the other dugout. Just go out there, play your game, and you know, just play the game of baseball that you've played your whole life.
Some of it will be a right-handed, left-handed thing. Some of it's just to find out, you know, who's going to play, who's going to be able to perform out there. You know, it's a little different when you turn the lights on. It's a little different when you're playing somebody for real. And some guys really excel in that. Some guys don't. And so we got to find out the ones that do.
Like Ole Miss, opening day is quickly approaching for the Mississippi State Diamond Dogs, too. 2 weeks ago, head coach Chris Lamone is saying at Media Day that after losing such big personalities like center fielder Jake Mangum, outfielder Elijah McNamee, and left-handed pitcher Ethan Small, this season's team is still in search of an identity. No word as if the Dogs have found it yet before matching up to Wright State this weekend. However, Coach Lamone has some thoughts on what he hopes it will look like.
We're still fighting in that piece because some of my older guys, Jordan Westberg, works as hard, plays as hard as anybody, but he's normally a pretty quiet kid, you know, where Jake was not. And Elijah, I mean, Cole Gordon, we lost some real personalities on that you know, team last year, which was a lot of fun to coach. But I think you'll see some other ones blossom, and I don't think we have our identity yet. Hopefully it's just, man, those guys play hard. That's what I'd like. Somebody comes and watch us play. Man, Mississippi State plays hard. That's the biggest one for us right now.
And an even bigger series coming up in week 2 for Mississippi State. They're going to be hosting Oregon State, in case you guys forgot.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
a huge matchup on the national stage.
A huge one starting right early. I mean, Ole Miss, State alike, neither are wasting any time getting right into the thick of things.
Right out of the gate.
Yes.
They'll tell them a lot about their team.
Absolutely.
All right, thanks, Courtney. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
All right, some showers tonight. There's still at risk for some severe weather tomorrow. It doesn't look like it's going to be the end of days type scenario. We've been through it before. Gusty wind, maybe that isolated tornado.
So no 2x2s and all that?
No what?
No, the 2x2s are still coming. It's still going to flood.
It's still coming. All right.
Okay. missed that.
Noah's Ark.
Oh.
There we go. That's it. Good night, everybody.